What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So I'm going to give my review on Game Week 5 in the Premier League. Starting off with the London derby at the London Stadium, West Ham Chelsea. I predicted 2-1 West Ham win and Chelsea won 3-0. It's the first time in West Ham's very long history that they've lost their opening 3 home games in a league season. It just proves Lopetegui was the wrong guy, man, and I don't understand what they saw in the guy. He wasn't very good at Wolves. Like, yes, he was saved from relegation, but they played really bad football. He was awful at Real Madrid. Why did they want him? I don't know. And with the amount of backing he had this summer, he should be playing a lot better football. Stupid seeing that starting Mavropanos side of Todibo still trying to change the system in game, playing Edson Alvarez in the back three. Like, what are you doing, man? And then he took off Somerville at half time despite him being the most threatening player. Like, I don't know what he was doing. But Nicholas Jackson is starting to become one of the best nines in the world. He's been fantastic. I think last season we saw a lot of his all-round game, but his finishing just wasn't up to scratch, especially in the first half of the season. But now he's getting much more clinical. He is going to be a very scary player. But Somerville should have had a penalty because Fofana clearly fouled him in the box. I don't know how it wasn't given. And then Jackson got an assist to Cole Palmer to make it 3-0 very early on in the second half. And the game was done. Another derby next up, Villa against Wolves. I banged this one. Wolves 1-0 up until the 73rd minute, and then they bottled it completely. First goal, brilliant goal from Cunha. Awful mistake from Diego Carlos though. He is just a big liability. I don't really understand why they even signed him. And Villa were pretty bad until the 70th minute. Like, until that point, they were doing nothing. They didn't have any real chances, no real shots. But then they had a really good late flurry. Morgan Rogers got 2 assists. Duran came off the bench to score, Watkins scored as well. Konsa scored the second goal and he showed a lot of desire to get in ahead of the defender. And Aston Villa proved again, you can never count them out at home. The amount of late comebacks they make at Villa Park is fantastic. And this also means Wolves have only won 1 out of the last 15 Premier League games. It is a bit of a worry. I do really like Gary O'Neill, but he does need to start winning a few games. And I know they've had a tough start to the season. It's not exactly any easier in the upcoming games. I still think Wolves need to be patient with him because you look at Bournemouth last season and they started horribly, didn't win any of the first 9 games, and then they ended up having the best ever season points wise. Fulham against Newcastle, I got this completely wrong. I thought Newcastle were going to win 2-1, continue the unbeaten streak. Instead they lost 3-1. Jimenez scored a beautiful goal just 5 minutes in. He scores in back-to-back games. And the great thing for Fulham is when one of their strikers are out of form, the other one comes into form. Muniz hasn't been great. So Jimenez is picking up the slack, and I'm sure in 2 months Jimenez will be out of form, and so Muniz will step in. Smith-Rowe hit the barbell and scored not long after. It has been fantastic. It's beautiful to see him getting a run of games now that he's fully fit. It's a real shame as a QPR fan after watching a bit for Fulham, but he's a brilliant player when he's fully fit, man. I love watching him. But the first half was atrocious from Newcastle. They did absolutely nothing, and then they made changes at half time. And they worked. Harvey Barnes scored a minute into the second half, and they had some big chances through Fabian Schär. But at the end of the game, Bruno Guimaraes, the new Newcastle United captain, made a horrible mistake, and Reece Nelson got his first goal for Fulham. Gordon and Joelinton both really poor, especially Gordon. I don't know what's happened to him, man. He was so good last season, but it looks like he's lost a bit of desire. Leicester City against Everton, I predicted a 1-0 Leicester win, ended up being a 1-1 draw. Facundo needs to start. Steve Cooper, stop benching him. He is elite in the 10, okay? Please play him. Everton dominated the first half especially, man. Ndiaye is brilliant. What a player. Lindstrom missed an easy chance, but McNeil as well in the 10, he was really good. Ndiaye scored his first goal for Everton, a really good finish. But Mavididi rescued Leicester in the second half. He was their best player going forward yet again. I don't know why Cooper was benching him at the start of the season. Unfortunately for Everton, they did let another lead slip. And both teams are winless still, but it was Everton's first point and it was also Leicester's second game unbeaten now. Liverpool against Bournemouth, I predicted a close 2-1 win for Liverpool. They ended up comfortably winning 3-0. Luis Diaz, once again, absolutely brilliant, scored another 2 goals, just ran Araujo ragged. Bring in Max Aarons, please, Areola. He needs to play, he is very good. Nunez's goal was also really nice. Not much happened in the second half though, no team had any real comfortable chances, except for Kelleher making a really good goal line save after Alexander-Arnold almost scored no goal. Almost probably did deserve a goal, but they didn't deserve to win. They didn't deserve a draw either. Liverpool were very good. McAllister especially, some of the passes he played were brilliant. Another huge relegation clash, Southampton against Ipswich. I predicted a 3-1 Ipswich win, ended up being a 1-1 draw. Dibbling scored very early on in the game, The 18-year-old looks a top talent. He was fantastic against Manchester United last week. He was fantastic again here. Despite the fact that this is going to be a really bad season for Southampton, he is going to be a shining light. Hopefully he develops into a really, really good player. Archer played quite well. He showed some real good centre-forward play, but in front of goal, the composure just wasn't there. Once he gets that right, he will explode. Right at the end of the game though, Sam Morsey, the Ipswich Town captain, scored a screamer. It did take a big deflection, but he got a very valuable point for Ipswich. This was Southampton's best performance of the season by a mile, and it also, coincidentally, is the game where they have the least possession. They cut out all the pass around the back nonsense, slow tempo, and actually tried to play football. It was brilliant. And although they didn't win, they got their first point of the season. It also means Ipswich are now unbeaten in 3 games, which is very good, to be fair to them. Tottenham Brentford, I predicted a 2-0 win. They won 3-1. Brentford once again scored after 20 seconds, so whoever's playing them next week, be careful. But Dominic Solanke scored his first goal for his new club, and Johnson, after getting so much abuse, scored 2 goals in 2 games. I'm recording this quite late, and he has just scored again in the Europa League. It's 3-3 for him. And also love the fact he shushed the Brentford fans. Just for that, he is now one of my favourite players. But James Maddison was the man of the match. He was unbelievable. It was like watching him at the start of last season where he was running every show. You have to double up on him because he just glides past players. His weight of pass is perfect. Give him a free role to just go wherever he wants. And he played a bit wider this game to allow Son to cut inside a bit more, where he was much more effective. He was also given support by a doggy who played a much more touchline fullback role, more traditional fullback role, I should say. But this was a brilliant performance from Tottenham. I want to see more of this, man. And if they keep playing like this, they can have no problem this season. I will say though, at 2-1, Vicari was very lucky not to be sent off for handing the ball outside the area. He did make some really good saves in the game, but that was risky from him. Crystal Palace against Manchester United, I did predict a draw, but I thought it would be a 2-2 draw. Dean Henderson made some really good saves from Garnacho, De Ligt. Garnacho set the bar, which is followed by Bruno Fernandes hitting the bar. Man United could have been 4-0 up in the first half an hour. They were brilliant. In the first half, Palace only had 1 real chance. That fell to Eze right at the end of the half. It was a really poor effort from a guy of his quality. In the second half, I was a bit bewildered by Glasner's subs because he brought Sarr on, but Nketiah was also on the pitch, but yet Sarr was the one playing as a striker. Didn't understand that at all. I thought Mateta's gone off, he'll move Nketiah into the 9, play Sarr a bit further back, maybe a bit wider. Did not do that. But in the second half, Onana made some really good saves. A brilliant double save from Nketiah and Sarr. Eze then missed a sitter as well. Lisandro Martinez should have been sent off for a 2-footed, I don't even know what it was, on Kamada. He didn't touch him, which is the only saving grace, but it was a really dangerous, really reckless tackle that should have seen him see red. Man United should have had a pen off that allowed him a handball. And also, when Rashford came on, Man United was significantly worse. Crystal Palace were a lot better in the second half. But a really worrying start for Man United. They've only scored 1 goal in their last 5 visits to Selhurst Park. Then on Sunday, Brighton against Nottingham Forest. I did predict a draw here as well. I predicted 1-1 and a 2-2. Nuno swapped the 2 wingers though. He played Elanga on the left and Hudson-Odoi on the right, which I thought was a bit odd, but it worked because right at the start of the game, Hudson-Odoi earned the penalty after Belieber tripped him up, really comes a challenge, would put the penalty away. But at the end of the half, Brighton scored 2 goals in 5 minutes. Inchwood's header was really good, and then Robert scored a beautiful free kick, which you could argue Sel should have done it better with. Mitoma was brilliant in this game as well. He bullied Aina in the first half. He then bullied Neco Williams when he came on in the second half. He was absolutely woeful, by the way, Williams. Morgan Gibbs-White also saw red in this game. I personally think the second yellow was the correct decision. I know a lot of people are disagreeing with that. He did get the ball, but it was a pretty bad challenge on João Pedro, and I don't know how many of you watched the Championship, but in the game earlier between Preston and Blackburn, Sam Greenwood got a red card for a very similar challenge to that. But the game sort of went how expected. Brighton dominated the possession, but Forest was really good defensively and really dangerous on the counter. Sosa also scored his first goal for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, really unsettled from Jota Silva. They have some really good depth now, Nottingham Forest, and they are going to be a very good team. And both of them are still unbeaten. And speaking of 2 unbeaten teams, Manchester City against Arsenal, what a controversial game this one was. So I did predict a 1-0 Arsenal win, ended up being 2-2, but we all know that it was a very lucky Man City point. City started the game really well. First half of that was all them. Savio did brilliantly for the goal. He span away from Calafiori, played a brilliantly weight ball to Haaland, who for some reason was in acres of space. I don't know why Saliba and Gabriel left him so open. Rodri then got injured, a really unfortunate one, looks like an ACL. People trying to blame Thomas Partey, it didn't even look like he did anything, I think it was just a freak injury, and hopefully it's not as bad as it looked. But Calafiori then called a screamer. He's making his first ever Premier League start, and he did that at the Etihad. You know, this is the hardest stadium to go to in the whole league against the best team in the world. This guy, yeah, is unbelievable. But towards the end of the first half, Arsenal got a lot better, and I'm going to be real with you, Doku was my boy, but he should have got a yellow card for taking the ball away, especially considering what happened later. But before that, Gabriel had a couple big-headed chances from corners. First one he missed, should have scored. Doku was marking him, changed it to Kyle Walker, and Gabriel beat him even easier and then put it in the back of the net. Arsenal from set pieces are unbelievable. Brilliant balling from Saka, Martinelli and Saliba, and Calafiori all did really well in blocking the defenders and the goalkeeper. Not a foul on Edison, by the way. If anyone thinks that was a foul, get to the gym. But then Leandro Trossard, who was already on a yellow card, decided to kick the ball away, and he got a rightful second yellow, and got himself sent off right at the end of the half. But while I do think it was the rightful second yellow, he should have yellow carded Doku. And I know it wouldn't have probably had an impact because Doku didn't already have a yellow card and didn't get another one later. You have to be consistent with these, man. Like, Arsenal seem to be the only team that get punished for kicking the ball away. It didn't happen for Brighton. Last week, Szoboszlai kicked the ball away for Liverpool against Nottingham Forest when he was on the yellow card. He didn't get a second yellow. And Nottingham Forest did go on to still win the game, but if they didn't, that would have been a big talking point. But in the second half, it was a defensive masterclass from Arsenal. And Raya as well, like, he claimed every cross he needed to. He made some really good saves from some Guardiola volleys. Arsenal never really looked threatened. Like, Man City made it really easy for them because they were so repetitive. The ball went out to Walker, he played to Kovacic, played to Ruben Diaz, had a pop shot from 25 yards out that went into Rose. It was so predictable, so repetitive, really boring. Man City didn't have anything about him. I don't even rate Phil Foden yet, but Pep took far too long to bring him and Grealish on. These two players have skill sets that are really well suited to this sort of game. Grealish against low blocks is a very, very good player, and he came on and he was a big reason as to why the goal happened. It was really harsh the way it ended for Arsenal though. You know, they held on for 55 minutes with 10 men away at the Etihad against the best team in the world. No other team really done the same thing. And I cannot understand why people are slating Arsenal for playing defensive. If you expected Arsenal, who were already 2-1 up, with 10 men, to go man for man against Manchester City at the Etihad, they would have got ripped open, as would every single other team in the world. All of the other big six in recent years have got a red card at the Etihad. Chelsea got beaten 6-0, Liverpool got beaten 5-0, Man United got beaten 4-1, Tottenham got beaten 3-0. Arsenal came away with a 2-2 draw. Maybe some of the others had got a bit more defensive, they might not have got battered. I don't think any other team would have got out of the point if they were in Arsenal's boots, man. Not a chance. And you know what though? I'm really happy to see some beef between two title rivals because Liverpool and Man City just used to suck each other off all the time. There's clear hatred here between Man City and Arsenal, and it's good to see. And also, interesting, Saka becomes only the second ever Arsenal player to assist in all of the first 5 Premier League games of the season, behind Thierry Henry. My thoughts on this game, let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon for another video.